because that's what we're going to do on Thursday. All right, number 1, solve using substitution. What does that mean? What do I need to do if I'm using substitution? I need the letter by itself. And looking at the problem, the letter that makes the most sense is that one right there. So y equals 5 minus 2x. When you do substitution, you can get whatever letter you want by itself, but clearly it makes the most sense to move that 2x over. All right, now what? Take whatever you just said y equals and plug it into the other equation. So 3x minus 2, 5 minus 2x equals negative 3. So 3x minus 10 plus 4x equals negative 3. 7x equals 7. I got x equals 1, which is nice. Is that what you got? Are we done? No. Now notice there's no answer blanks. You're going to circle your answer there. And you're not going to circle x equals 1 because the answer to all 3 of the problems on this page are ordered pairs, right? The answers are ordered pairs. So we know that the x is 1. So then we go back, in any place we see an x, plug it in. Anywhere you want. So I'm going to put it right here. If I put in 1 for this x, what does it say y equals? Y equals 3. Yep. And that's your answer. Okay, now what about number 2? This is elimination. What do we do when we eliminate? What do we do when we eliminate? Somebody, you need to take off that red coat. Sorry.
You multiply by a number.
The idea is to make either these wipe each other out or these wipe each other out, right? Does not matter which one. It will be easier to get rid of this because all you have to do is multiply by negative 3. But when you multiply by negative 3, it's going to give you positive 15, negative 3y, and negative 30. You have to multiply all the way across. Then we add it to the other equation. Eliminating the y's, which is the purpose for doing what she did, and x equals negative 2. You will have a calculator on this whole test, so any arithmetic, feel free to do on the calculator. Then, just like before, if x is negative 2, then what do we need to do? Plug it back in anywhere you see an x. It doesn't make any difference. I'm just going to put it right here. So that's negative 4 plus 3y equals negative 4. So if I add 4, it says 3y equals 0. So I guess my y is 0. That's okay. Y is 0. All right? That's all old news. You've done that for years and years and years. This is brand new, this Kramer's rule stuff. So the problem looks very much the same. The answer is going to be an ordered pair. How do I find it? Using Kramer's rule. So I set up a determinant of the x's and the y's. So 3, -2, 1, -5. Everybody got it? How do I evaluate that determinant? What do? Multiply -15, multiply -2, and then what do I do with those two numbers? Subtract. So -15 plus 2, it looks like I got -13. Now that is not an answer. However, it is the denominator of the answer. So whatever x is, it's something over -13, and whatever y is, it's something over -13. All right, how do I find the sum things?
The answer.
Take these two numbers, yep, thank you. Take those two numbers, and if we're gonna do x, we will take those two and paste them on top of x. So 7, 1, 1, -5. So I'm simply taking those two numbers and pasting them right here. Then to do y, I'll paste them here. So 3, -2, 7, 1. So paste these right here. Now notice when I'm pasting, I'm not moving anything. Nothing switching spots. I'm just simply pasting right on there. Okay, so what's this one? -35 minus 1, -36, -35 minus 1, 3 minus -14. How's that look to everybody? Is that what you got? Now do be careful, because once you get it all put together, if you can simplify, you need to. So see how I have a negative over a negative? We're going to want to make that a positive. And that's it. All right, page 1 done. So now we're moving on to page 2. And page 2 is all of these matrix operations. So this is the page, remember, that sometimes you're going to get no answer. All right? So problem 1, find A inverse. All right, how do we do that? What do we have to do to find A inverse? Find the determinant. So that's what we just got done doing. So that's going to be -4 minus 6. Did you get -10? Multiply, multiply, subtract. All right, now what? What else? So now we make a new matrix by taking these two numbers and switching them, and taking these two numbers and changing their signs. So positive becomes negative. And then all of these numbers in this new matrix we just made get divided by the -10. And then just like we just talked about, anything that reduces or simplifies needs to be done. So what about -4 over -10? 2 over 5. What about -2 over -10? 1 over 5. 3/10 and -1/10. How's that look to everybody? Does that look right? Perfect. 2C. do I do for 2C? Multiply everything by 2, so it's like a distributive, it's just a distributive type thing. So multiplying by 2 would give me 246 and negative 228. Kids, that is so easy. You get points for that. Easy. All right, A times C. Before I write it out, can I do it? What are the dimensions of A? 2 by 2. What are the dimensions of C? All right, so this one we can do, right? I'm gonna write out my matrices. I'm gonna multiply these two together. And when we do, our answer will be another 2 by 3. All right, so how do we multiply? Always row 1, row first, always rows first. So row 1, column 1 to get that number. So write down the numbers in the row, it's just 1 and 2. And then the column, 1 and negative 1, and add them together. So what is that? Negative 1? Is that right? All right, row 1, column 2. And row 1, column 3. And you'll have a calculator if you're struggling with the arithmetic. I got negative 1, 4, 11 across the top. Anybody else get that? Okay. Go ahead and work on the bottom row, which means we're going to be using 3 and negative 4. And we're going to use that 3 and negative 4 3 times. We're going to use it with the first column, with the second column, and with the third column. So tell me what you got.
7, 2, negative 7.
That's what I got, 7, 2, and negative 7. Anybody not get one of those and have a question about it? Xavier, did you get those? You just making things up, Xavier? You really get this? Okay. All right, D, A plus B. What do you think about A plus B? Can't do it. Why can't we do A plus B?
Different dimensions.
They have different dimensions, exactly. Remember, if you're gonna add, they have to have the same dimensions. So that's not possible. A plus B is not possible. All right, what about B times D? What are the dimensions of B? 3 by 3. What are the dimensions of D?
2 by 2.
Okay, wait a minute. Can those be multiplied? Nope, there's another empty set. You will have some cannot do's on your test. That's another one. Can't do it. What about 2D minus A? Is that going to be doable? Well, what are the dimensions of D? 2 by 2. What are the dimensions of A? 2 by 2. They can be subtracted. So it's a doable problem. What's 2D? 2 times D would be -4, 2, 6, 12. And minus A is 1, 2, 3, -4. So here we go, entry by entry. -4 minus 1. Two minus 2. 6 minus 3. And 12 minus -4. Is that all right with everybody? All right, number 5, next page now. All right, so that page is done. Number 5 is a bigger determinant. Okay, gotta be able to evaluate this. Who can do it? Who knows what we do?
Move the first 2 columns.
These two right here get copied and pasted right here. So 2, -1, 0, and 1, 1, 1. Then we start multiplying, and we always start right here. So multiply, and remember, whenever you're multiplying by a 0, you're just gonna get 0. So that's just gonna be 0. And actually, so is that one. And this one's gonna be -4. Total all those up. So we have a 0, a 0, and a -4. Right? Then the other way. So got another 0, and a 10, and a 0. What do we do with those numbers? Subtract. So -4 minus 10 is -14. And that's the answer to the question. There's only one number. That's the answer. Everybody okay? All right, next we have our vocabulary section. What is A sub 1, 2? 4. A sub 1, 2 means what is the number in the first row, second column? So first row, second column, that's a 4. What are the dimensions of this matrix? 4 by 2. Rows, columns, 4 by 2. In the expression 3a, 3 is called a scalar. Yep, that was on our last practice quiz. Or practice test, what do the real tests look like? This, right? Is a square, why or why not?
No,
No,
because the rows and columns don't match.
the rows and columns don't match. It's got 4 rows, but only 2 columns. If it were gonna be square, it would have to be like 2 by 2 or something. Definition of a matrix? A rectangular array of numbers arranged in rows and columns. Kids, that's in your notes. I promised you last week, I'm promising you again, that's gonna be a test question. So learn that definition. And then what do we mean by an entry or an element? One of the numbers inside the matrix, right? It's a number inside the matrix. our big word problem. So here we go. Go ahead and start filling in the chart while I'm getting it set up here. All right, here we go. The company must make a minimum of 600 audio players and 800 phones, and a maximum of 1,500 audio players and 1,700 phones. All right, there's a lot right there. Did you notice in the chart we have a fixed interval blank? Can you see the intervals for your audio players and phones? What is the minimum and maximum for the audio players? Minimum and maximum for audio players is what? 600 to 1,500? Be careful, this one's worded a little bit differently. Make sure you're getting all the audio numbers together. So I'm gonna call audio players X, and X is gonna be between, I should have made these blanks bigger. X is gonna be between 600 and, what did I say? 1,500. And any fixed interval is automatically a constraint. So any fixed interval that you write, minimum and maximum, think of a fixed interval as a range of values. The number of audio players I make can range from 600 to 1,500. What about phones? 800 to 1,700. And that's going to be graphed also. Are you thinking about a scale to use when you graph this? Looking at these numbers, maybe each line will be 100. Does that make sense? All right, let's finish the chart. The cost per unit of audio is $55. And phones is $95. And we have to make at least 200 items. How many of each type should be made to minimize costs? We have to make at least 2,000 items. Where does the 2,000 go? Total number. Okay, would everybody agree that we've got all of our numbers in the chart? We've already got our two fixed intervals listed. Is there another constraint? I think there is. What is it? X plus Y greater than or equal to 2,000. Why is it greater than this time? That makes a difference because it's going to impact our graph. Why is it greater than 2,000? We have to make at least 2,000. What does that mean? When I tell you you have to do at least 2,000, does that mean you do more than 2,000 or less than 2,000? More, greater than 2,000. And of course, X and Y are both positive. All right, to graph our fixed interval, we went through this the other day. Do you remember what we did? I'll do it in blue, this one in blue. I go to my x-axis and I mark 600. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 600. and then I mark 1,500. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 1,500. And then what do? I've got these two numbers marked on my x-axis. Now what do? Draw vertical lines down through those points. And since x has to be between those two numbers, does it make sense that you're shading in here? So right now, I've got a blue bar. This is where I'm looking, in between these two lines. All right, now I'm gonna do y the same, except I go up the y-axis. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, where are we looking now? Between the blue, between the green, so right here in this box, here we go, 2,000. You guys are all very sleepy today. Are you following along? Test on Thursday. This is when I really need a straight edge. Here we go. Sort of straight. And where is that shaded? So remember, we were in the box, but now we have to be above the red line. So we're in the box, but we're above the red line. How does that look to you? Do you see a shape like this? Does that seem right to you? You have to be in the box and above the red line? All right, what happens next? We gotta find all those points, right? Now, let's be logical about this. It's really easy. See this point right here? Let's start with this one. He's really easy. What do I know about anything on this blue line? Anything on this blue line has an X that is 600. So this point and this point both have 600 for their X's. Now, what do I know about any point on this green line right here? On this green line, any point has a Y value of 1,700. See what I'm doing? What about this line right here? What do I know about points on this line? My X is 1,500. And then what about this line right here? Any point on this line has a y of 800? Now, every point is filled in partially. See this red line? Points on the red line have to add up to 2,000. Do you see that? X and Y have to add up to 2,000. So if you have already figured out that X is 600, then what would your Y have to be? 1,400. And if you've already figured out that Y is 800, then X will have to be 1,200? Bless you.
Thank you.
All right, has everybody got those points? All right, what do we do now? You figure out that, oh, wait, what am I supposed to be figuring out? I never wrote that down.
The minimum.
The minimum, and what is the minimum? What am I trying to minimize?
The cost.
The cost. So that's gonna be 55x plus 95y, is that right? So then I use my calculator to help me. Doesn't matter where I start. These are gonna be very big numbers. Excuse me. I'm so busy sneezing, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if I got this right or not, so double check my numbers. Those look okay to everybody? So once we get them all figured out, all those numbers figured out, this is a minimum problem, so we're gonna look around for the smallest one. And then we're gonna advise the company to do what?
So those are your audio players, your 800 phones.
Yep, they should make 1,200 audio players and 800 phones for a profit, or excuse me, for a cost of $142,000. And you're gonna write that sentence, right? Because if you don't, you'll lose points. So make sure you write that sentence, telling them this is what you want to do. Make 1,200 audio players and 800 phones, and it's gonna cost you $142,000. Now, on Friday, or whenever that was, we talked about how sometimes you can rule out points right away. Did anybody do that or not? You don't have to ever, but you can. Think about it, if you're gonna minimize cost, here I'm making 600 and 1,700, here I'm making 1,500 and 1,700. Isn't this one gonna be cheaper? Because we're making less? So if you notice that kind of stuff, you can rule them out before you find the cost. If that's confusing you, just do exactly what we did and you'll get the answer every time. Okay? One more problem, and this test is over. I'm going to use a calculator to solve. Now, it looks just like this on the test, guys. It's just a big empty page. So there's plenty of room for you to write down what you need to write down. Which is what? What do you have to write down if you want to get full credit for this problem? No one knows? What do we have to write down? The matrix you're putting into the calculator. You're going to press the RREF button, and a matrix is going to come out of the calculator. And that new matrix is going to give us the answer to the question, which is going to be A, B, C, D for this problem. Okay? Alright, so what matrix is going here? I need A, B, C, D, and equals numbers, so 1, 1, 1, 1, 10. Does that look okay for the top row? 2, -1, -1, -3, -15. Uh-oh, be careful, the third equation is missing something. What is the third equation missing? D. So we're gonna be sure to put a 0 in the D column. Uh-oh, what about the bottom row? Missing a B. How does that look? Does that look about right to you? Alrighty, so you know what to do. We're gonna go to second matrix. Yes, I'm hovering. So second matrix. Over to edit. What are the dimensions of this matrix? 4 by 5. So 4, enter, 5, enter. All these numbers in. If I need a negative, use the negative. Okay, after we get the last one in, we hit enter, what do we do then? Second click, second click. Now back into second matrix. enter, second matrix, enter, enter. Oh my gosh, did Mrs. Ford rig this one or what? What came out? A matrix that looks like this. Which means your answer is A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, and D is 4.
I didn't get that.
You didn't type your matrix in right. Okay, so you need to go back to edit, make sure you type in all your numbers right. Yep. So chances are you left a negative out maybe or something, I don't know what, but there can be no, I mean, it won't, the calculator can't mess up, it won't. So it's a number you put in the wrong spot. Remember, for this problem, you write down the matrix that goes in, the matrix that comes out, and then your answer, written like this. Okay? Now, once you look back at the quizzes I turned back the other day, I turned those back to you on Friday, I think, or Thursday something. Does anybody have a question about something that you missed on a quiz? You want to get straightened out before testing. So anything at all. We're good? Did you get it this time? Yeah.